Bikers in India love full-fed motorcycles, and the other thing we love, of course, are inline-4 engines. But that combination has been out of reach for most of us, as leader class sport bikes cost an arm and a leg. But Honda has had a solution to this for a little while, and now it's finally here in India in the form of the CBR650F. The first inline-4 full-fed bike in India to cost well under 10 lakh rupees. So, not an arm and a leg, but you might still have to sell a kidney for it. But hey, you can ride with one kidney, can't you? Honda has chosen rather unaggressive styling when they went about designing this CBR650. It is a fairly large motorcycle, and all that bulk is complemented by that large, well-designed fuel tank, which is very comfortable to grip with your thighs while riding. You even get fairly low-slung clip-on handlebars, which make for a sporty riding position. The single-piece seat is extremely comfortable, and the low saddle height of 810mm means even short riders will have no problems on this CBR. Now, Honda has gone with some strange design choices with this CBR. Take that instrument cluster for example. It is an all-digital twin-pod unit, but for some reason it still looks quite dated. Then there's the switch gear, top-notch in terms of quality, but again strange button placement. For example, the buttons of the horn and the indicators have been reversed in their positions. Plus the horn switch design makes it a little difficult to use, and the pass switch has been integrated into the high beam low beam selector. Overall, it is a good-looking bike, but not the most exciting. The CBR649cc inline 4-cylinder motor makes 86.5 PS of power, but because this is a short stroke motor, all that power comes in at a fairly high 11,000 RPM. Even the bike's peak torque figure of 62.9 Nm is made at 8,000 RPM. In terms of other components, the bike gets 41mm telescopic forks at the front and a linked monoshock connected to a chunky cast alloy swing arm at the rear. As for the brakes, the front wheel features dual 320mm pedal discs, and the back wheel gets a single 240mm pedal disc. With a curb weight of 215 kilos, it is on the heavier side, but it still does 0 to 100 in under 4 seconds. However, since the engine delivers its power at a fairly high RPM, if you want to do some quick overtakes, you have to downshift quite often. When it comes to handling though, this CBR is extremely planted through the corners. The stability comes at the price of flexibility. If you want to change directions quickly, it's not very easy to do. However, the sporting riding position does make corner carving quite a bit of fun. Now you have to remember that this is not a track-focused sport bike. It's a street bike with a full fairing. But which means you get fantastic ride quality. It soaks up bumps and potholes really well. However, you have to be careful on tall speed breakers. The ground clearance of 133mm is quite low, and the underbelly does scrape a few times. Overall, it's a very unintimidating sort of motorcycle to ride, and you get to grips with it quite quickly. Going fast on this CBR becomes second nature in no time. As likable as this CBR650 is, there is a fundamental problem, and that is price. At Rs 7.30 lakhs ex-showroom Delhi, it is a fairly expensive motorcycle. And if it is a middleweight full-fed bike that you want, well, then the Ninja 650 here makes a lot of sense. Granted, it's only a parallel twin, but it's quite capable and it's much cheaper than this CBR. Now, before you get started, I know this is the older generation Ninja, but it's only here for reference sake. And if it's only an inline 4 that you want, well then why not consider this, the Benelli TNT 600i. Yes, it's a naked, but it's quite good looking and a lot of fun to ride. So that begs the obvious question, Is the CBR still worth it? The TNT and the Ninja make 85 and 72 PS of power respectively. But with 86.5 PS on tap, not only does the CBR have the most power, it also has the highest power to weight ratio amongst this lot, a whopping 402 PS per ton. The Benelli's power figures are respectable, but its engine is the peakiest, making its max power at 11,500 RPM. It also makes the least torque. The most tractable motor here is from the Ninja, making the highest torque of 64 Newton meters. So the Ninja's engine makes riding in any condition, whether cruising at highway speeds or crawling through city traffic, extremely easy and comfortable. But when it comes to outright acceleration, the CBR has the others beat. On the handling front, the TNT has a bit of catching up to do with the CBR. It's the heaviest bike here, and even its center of gravity feels quite high up. So while it does step into corners quickly, it doesn't do it with the same sure-footedness of the Honda. The other noticeable issue with the TNT are its brakes. They have almost no feel, and it's quite a task to reach that front brake lever quickly when you're coming off the throttle. To top it off, it has a huge amount of free play, and the bike doesn't even have ABS, factors that don't inspire much confidence. The Ninja's handling, just like its motor, is very easygoing. Its ability to handle neutrally is a boon to any sort of rider, and to top it off, it features the best ergonomics for touring long distances. The CBR650 again is the best handler of the lot. Its composed mid-corner nature and sporty ergonomics make it very easy for most riders to ride it fast around twisties. Of course, it's not as sharp as a proper super sport bike, but it offers great balance of everyday riding and corner carving delight. Now, as I've said before, the Honda is quite held back in the looks department. I think the new Ninja 650 is a damn sight better looking. But I really love the way this TNT 600i looks, especially in its limited edition colors. Now, I agree that comparing fair and unfair bikes in looks is a bit like comparing apples to oranges. But the aggressiveness of this TNT is just so lovable. And there are lots of good design touches everywhere, like that massive sculpted fuel tank and those lovely twin exhausts at the back. And what a wonderful noise they make. Well, try as you might, you can't ignore pricing. The new Ninja 650 is Rs 5.37 lakhs ex-showroom Delhi. That's almost 2 lakh rupees cheaper than the Honda. And this limited edition Benelli that you have got here, well, that's Rs 5.58 lakhs ex-showroom. If you go for the standard TNT 600i, well, that's even cheaper at 5.24 lakhs. Clearly, the CBR650 is better than these two in many regards and the sportiest bike here. But does that justify paying Rs 2 lakhs extra? Maybe not. Actually, if I was in the market for a middleweight super sport bike and I had the cash, I think I'll be giving Triumph a call.